morning, vlogsters. I have the same cup of coffee. I'm pretty much going to use this cup like a lot because, first of all, when I'm laying down and I'm having like my second cup, because I will tell you about that in a minute, I have to drink out of the straw. Also, it's neater to drink out of the straw when I wear the brace because sometimes it could be like a dribble cup situation. However, when I lay down and I drink out of the straw, this keeps the coffee obviously so much more at its temperature, whatever temperature you put it, than just like a coffee mug does. But until I'm able to sit and have like 2 real cups of coffee with you, it's probably going to just be this cup for a very long while. I would like to tell you really quickly not really quickly, I would like to talk to you today about what Jimmy and I have started this week. And to tell you about why the sitting up thing. So I know I mentioned it in I'm sorry. I just didn't, like, the angle is weird. I know I mentioned it in a previous video. Or I think I did. That I'm having a bit of a struggle, or a surprise of the struggle, that is my body is feeling better to the point where it wants to get up and do things. And the fact that I so successfully did things last week made it especially more difficult to stop. We looked back at photographs, and I think I might share photographs today. So, trigger warning for cancer, rash, chemotherapy, rash, warnings, whatever it is. I think I'm going to share photos so you can see what I'm talking about. Is that, like, there are certain areas in my back on my rash that are becoming, I don't know, I'm questioning, like, is sitting in the brace as long as I have been good? Now, I talked to my family about it because I kind of had like a little bit of a breakdown the other day. And I think if I mentioned this yesterday's vlog, I'm so sorry. But I know yesterday's vlog was a little bit about how much goes into being a YouTuber for me. That's mostly what yesterday's vlog was about. Sorry, my nose all of a sudden just got really itchy, and I don't know if it's because the Dyson went off or it's not runny, it's just itchy. So I'm going to grab a tissue and just rub it around there for a second. Give me a second. Oh. God, I don't know if itchy is worse than like runny. I don't even know sometimes. Anyhow, think that this morning I kind of equated it to prison. You know, I guess it's like a person who's in solitary and gets to go out in the yard and then has to go back to solitary. I don't know that that's even the right equation. That's not right. The right comparison. The better comparison, I feel like, is it's like you were in prison and then you had a day of freedom and then they revoked your freedom. That's what it felt like. And you know you're only in prison for a couple of days because then you're going to have freedom again. And it's that extra amount of patience that's required for that couple of days. It's very difficult. I have to tell you, I said to Jim, I said, it's probably the most difficult thing that I've gone through. Not the most painful. Not the most, you know, like, scary situation. It's just really been the most emotionally. I mean, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and I didn't feel as freaking emotional about it because of the amount of hope that I have. But this hurry up and wait game, I have to tell you, it's one of the reasons I left New York. Everybody in New York felt like hurry up and wait. Like, you know, I joke about only in New York do you go 60 miles an hour between stop signs. Or, you know, you're the first person in line at the waiting to get a spot. Like, it's silly. It's just that it's one of the reasons I left there. It's like my patience was like this. And then, you know, now I feel like it's not. And with myself, though it is. It's with myself and my body, my rash. So it's just very emotionally taxing on me. More emotionally taxing so far than most things that I've been through. So what I mean by that is, if you're only watching today for the first time in a while, is last week on Monday, I had 2 evaluations. I had physical therapy and occupational therapy evaluations. Both ladies were a couple hours apart, and they both had me put off my brace and show them like what physical therapy exercises that I do, what my daily tasks look like, and that sort of thing. And then the occupational therapist came and she had me put on my brace, show the same physical, not the therapy exercises, but the daily tasks. And then we went in and got in and out of the bathtub a few times so she could see, we could evaluate that. And she helped me out figure out a better way to do it. And now we don't even have occupational therapy coming as therapy right now. Probably not until this comes on. Oh, can you guys see my brace? Brace check. Sorry, that was for Alicia. Brace check. Sorry, Alicia. Got brace check. So, that was Monday. And then Tuesday, I know you guys know I sat in the chair I sat in the brace all day. We were at the doctor's appointment, and then we went to the Dollar Tree. Well, first went to Dunkin' Donuts, then we went to the Dollar Tree, and I came home. I did the Dollar Tree haul, and that was like an all-day event. So Wednesday, when the nurse came, I was like, I know that I need to give my body a rest. And I wasn't even thinking about giving my rash or my back a rest. It was about giving my body a rest. And I know that even though my body was like, you don't need a rest, get up, I knew that I was going to pay for it if I didn't. So my willpower overrid my want power. And I said, Jeri, rest. And the nurse was coming, and I was like, your nurse is probably going to have you like do a bunch of rollovers and breathes and all that stuff anyway. So might as well just take advantage, make the day about resting. Now, I'm not going to lie. I did fold some clothes and put some clothes away and stuff like that. Nothing like big. Just one of those trips back from the commode. You just be like, oh, I'll fold my laundry and I'll put my laundry away, straighten out my dresser or whatever. So nothing like big. But then I got out of the brace. And then Thursday, again, I don't know if you guys have been watching, but Thursday I went out and I made 2 batches of French toast for my freezer. So this is not a complaint on my husband at all, guys. Really, it isn't. It's just that my thing has been, and you guys know this because I've shared this in the channel 1,000 times, is that my thing has been, for money purposes, is to make my French toast and my pancakes and my waffles in batches and put them in the freezer so we have like quick breakfasts for a year. And that's okay because most of, the last like 4 months out of the year, my mouth texture actually probably was longer, probably like closer to 5-6 months out of the last year, my mouth didn't want it to have certain textures anyway, so it was okay. But for the last like 5 or 6 for the last year, we've just had like eggs and oatmeal, and every once in a while throw in some grits, but it's been that whole cycle, just eggs and oatmeal. And like I said, it's okay because my mouth has really not wanted extra anyway. But there has been like no pancakes because the pancakes got finished right away, and then there's been like no waffles. Now, pancakes, waffles, French toast. Even when my mouth texture was bad, because I knew this because we would order out occasionally, or we went to IHOP occasionally, like rarely, but occasionally. I would get pancakes from IHOP. They have gluten-free pancakes. And I know that even when my mouth was really bad, if you put enough sugar-free syrup on the pancakes, you smush them down, they become like more edible that way. They're actually a smoother texture. Gluten-free pancakes soaked in syrup is actually a smoother texture than the oatmeal. So I knew that would be like something that I knew that that's something I could eat even with my mouth being irritated. So Jim is not comfortable making French toast. He's not comfortable making pancakes or waffles, and that's okay. I've never, it's okay. It's my thing or whatever. So to make them was super exciting. I guess that was the whole point. To be able to batch cook, to know that there's French toast in there. Super exciting. We talked about I said sometime this week if we can make pancakes and at least have pancakes in breakfast. So like there's choices. He's like, oh, I don't know if there's enough room in the freezer. I was like, there used to be. I'm not making any more than we did before. So what's going on in the freezer or whatever. But we discussed that, and that's okay. It seems okay. He just was, what are we doing? Batch cooking. Oh, so I felt like me. Going out on Tuesday going to the Dollar Tree made me feel a little bit like my old self. But batch cooking, French toast, cooking in general, just made me feel like me, like my old self. And then after we did that, we went in Jim's office and I helped organize his office and go through all the stuff. And we went through and organized whatever we had for camping. What we've been doing is like if we buy something, it's going in a pile. And if we shopped something from the house, it's going in another pile. And if the stuff that we had previously was in like a whole nother pile. So, sorry, I'm trying not to cry because it's very, I've been feeling very emotional about it, and I really didn't want to cry during this vlog, so I'm trying to hold it back. Sorry. So what we did was we took all of that stuff and we said, okay, this is for long trip camping, like the tent, the pots and pans, those types of things are for long trip. Weekend trips or short van trips and stuff like that. We need a cooler. We need the bedding stuff, but we don't need like everything that we're going to take all the time, So, and then we had some stuff that was in there that needs to go into the office to be DIY'd. So we organized all that. We got all of this room cleaned up, which is just, I felt so... I felt like me. Now, granted, when I left his office Thursday night, I think I also mentioned, I'm sorry, that I was sitting in his office chair the whole day making the pancakes. And his office chair is on wheels, the one from the living room that we sometimes use in the vlog. I know that I fit in it with my brace because I did before Christmas. Problem was, I think my height adjustment wasn't quite right. I felt comfortable at the time. But the way I described it to the physical therapist assistant was my knee was at more of an acute angle than it had been in the last year. And it didn't like it. The rollator has it at an obtuse angle. This has it at a 45-degree angle. That has it, 90-degree angle. The commode has it at a 90-degree angle. The chair in the van has it at a 90-degree angle. Actually, probably less. Probably a more obtuse angle because I actually stretch my legs out. Because I'm not driving. Hit the rim. Looked like it was going in, but it went out. Now, I was going to say sorry today. It's going to bother me, but I can't even see it. I'll get it when I'm done. So when I left the day of sitting in the chair, I had to just do a sit pivot, a sit transfer. I couldn't stand. I had to sit transfer from the rollator from the work chair to the rollator. I had to sit transfer from the rollator to the commode. I had to sit transfer from the commode to the rollator and back to the bed, do all this sit transferring. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically you just move your butt from one seat to another. Even if they're at different heights, you can still do it without actually standing up. I just use my arms to push myself up. It was a lot of pain, but honestly, it was fine the next day. It really was great the next day. But what I had noticed is that my back rash was burning the day after both of these events. And it wasn't until Friday the physical therapist came. The physical therapist, we did our workout, and she also had me put on the brace, and she wanted to see me, how I get out to the living room, to the kitchen, and how I function out there. So I showed her. We actually didn't go to the living room, and I told her the reason is why I'm not sitting in the living room is because I'm too far away from the commode right now. I can't move as fast as before. And my bladder, and I don't know if it's because it's my bladder on off a treatment or something, but my bladder is just like, you know, it wants to just be close to the bathroom. I think part of it, and I know that this for a fact, is psychological. I know that it's fact because from when I was in high school, it's kind of bizarre. There is this, we used to go to high school in West Hempstead, and remind me to come back to the story about the physical therapy. When we used to go to our high school, we went to West Hempstead, which was 20 minutes away from Island Park. And when we went to West Hempstead High School, you'd have to go through like Oceanside. You have to go through Rockville Center. You have to go through, I'm trying to think of how my bus route really was. You go through Rockville Center, then you go through like Malvern, and then you go into West Hempstead. So like that was like the big, okay. On the way home from school every single day. Oh, and then when I used to work when I started working at AHRC in Valley Stream, it was just as far, and it was almost the same route. It was just slightly different. When I worked at Valley Stream, when I went to West Hempstead, I would take, in Malvern, I'd take this one road now, it's fine. I take this one road up into West Hempstead. When I worked at Valley Stream, I took that road and I made a left, and then I went that way, like towards Valley Stream. Okay, just to tell you that they were the same distance, they were just a little wide different. But on the way home, they both hit the top of the Lawson Daly Boulevard Bridge, and it was like an overpass, it wasn't really a bridge. And every time I get to the top of that bridge, bladder engagement. It's so weird. And I talked to my sisters about it, and I'm not the only one. And I've talked to my friends about it too. And I know I'm not the only one. But it became like this, like really, like no matter what I did, no matter what I drank, no matter when I peed last, it became this challenge to get home from this Daly Boulevard, Lawson Boulevard Bridge to like not pee in my pants by the time I got home. Did I catch the train? Did I get stuck at a light? You know, and I never actually had an accident, so I know that's why I know it's psychological. And the fact that it always happened at the same time, that's when I knew it was psychological. Now, granted, I know that during these times when I worked, most of the time that I worked at these places and went to school, I had a very irregular menstrual cycle. And I know that when my uterus was full, is always when it put pressure on my bladder. Always put pressure on my bladder. I know I'm not the only one. So like during those times, which I would get my cycle like quite often, because one of the side effects of being plus size was I like always had pressure on my bladder, it seemed like. Anyway, I know that as soon as I got to that top of that bridge, it was like, can I get home fast enough? And again, like I said, I really never had an accident. Sorry about that. Now I'm really far away, but my left leg was starting to not want to be on the ottoman anymore. That's all. So, the worst I ever got was like peeing on the back of my pants because I couldn't pull them down fast enough. All right. It is what it is. And I'm talking about I was in my 20s and I never had any kids. This is just my nature of my body. Excuse me. That being said, all of that to say this. I know that being far away from the commode and not being able to just run is the psychological component. However, it is what it is. It is the psychological component. I'm not going to get psychotherapy just to help me hold my bladder. I do Kegel exercises, so I've tried that my whole life and tried to keep that to help my bladder control and to keep just like, you know, muscle tone and stuff like that. And it's okay. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't want to wear undergarments because if you don't use them, they cause me, I can't speak for everybody, but if I don't use them, they cause me quite a bit of irritation. Now, one of the things that I'll tell you back in the day when I had a very irregular menstrual cycle is I always had to wear sanitary pads because you never knew when you were just gonna, it was just gonna start. Now, I did go to doctors, and doctors just chalked up to me being plus size. They didn't, it was like, not before they knew about PCOS, but before it was something that was like more commonly recognized. I don't know that I have it because I haven't cared about that type of diagnosis anyway. I don't really have a lot of symptoms or whatever, but nobody was like looking why. They just said, oh, you're overweight. Fat produces estrogen. Your body thinks it's estrogen, and then period. That's why you're having these irregular menstrual cycles. And nobody looked any further. Actually, I take that back. One doctor, when I was trying to get pregnant, she actually had me have a vaginal ultrasound. And all they said was they couldn't see my one ovary. And that was the end of that. Again, they just chalked it up to my weight. And you know, it's funny because you hear a lot of these stories where a lot of people are having these things. And I never looked at it. It was like the medical system's fault. I just said, look, it's not in God's plan. I tried all these things. I tried everything to do this, and like everything that I could to do this. And it was just one turn after another was just met with resistance. And I was like, maybe God's trying to tell me something. And you know, how badly do you want this? How hard do you want to try this? And it's like every person's journey is individual. So